and I am a trained remote viewer um, and trained in skills in all the psychic's ability. I was trained to be a psychic spy when I was a child, which a lot of people hold against me. They don't trust me. It's okay. I don't trust the people who train me either. Anyway, tonight we're getting together again, having to do with creating momentum for a world that we construct consciously, a world full of peace rather than war. I don't know why. We all know that reality is created by intention on this planet. And yet, after that, the whole concept gets dropped. We're not taught anything beyond that. But because of my discoveries due to remote viewing, I am able to teach you how to vitalize your intentions and also teach you that you have a lot of subconscious intentions that are literally drowning out and killing your conscious intentions. And I want to remind you that we created the chaos that we're living, all of us. We created it. The intention that we're going to be vitalizing and energizing today has to do with peace. You cannot have peace if there is hatred or fear. So those are the two energies that we diminish with the intention mantra. And we work with something we call the Fox sensory therapy, which is a video that has images that support the vitalizing your intention. When you have an intention, your causal body, which is parallel to your spine and is in the shape of a tree trunk, it changes shape. And it shoots out vectors like this man who practices karate, and it breaks a board. If you can see the triangle that's shooting from him, the vector, and then you see the green dots. Those green dots are God particle. They are chi, which is God particle. That is what gives the martial artist the extra energy in order to be able to break a board, which his hand physically cannot break. They can break a concrete block, which his hand cannot break. And yet he does break it if he's done enough practice and he's good enough at it. And we accept that. Well, what we're teaching you in this platform is how to do the same thing the karate master does, which is training a lot less intense to focus, to open up the back of your heart chakra so that chi, the God particle, can enter. And rather than it just being you, let me let my dog down. Apparently he doesn't want to be here during this session. So that you can vitalize this intention. Years ago, when I first discovered this, and I used to work with big groups of people, I used to have them line the walls of the room and turn to the side and repeat a mantra, and I would tell them what was blocking this vector that needs to be energized. Because if the back of the vector, if the back of the person in the heart chakra level has a congestion of negative emotions or has a spirit sitting there, you're not going to be able to channel the chi, the God particle. But doing this mantra, which we're going to do in a few minutes, you're going to be able to open that all up and send all that energy through that vector into that intention. And I'm going to say it again. You can recreate or create any reality you want on planet Earth, because that's the law. Intention creates reality. You have to keep the focus on the intention. How do you create magical outcomes? And again, here's the example I always say. The old lady who sees her kid under a car because of an accident, she doesn't think about whether she hasn't worked out, she's overweight, what is she going to do? She doesn't think about any of that. She has an intention to save her child. That martial artist has an intention to break that board. They don't let anything get in the way of that intention. They just do it. When you apply for a job, you don't, you have an intention of getting the job, but you don't just do it. Maybe I'm not going to get it. Maybe that job's not going to be so great anyway. Maybe I didn't do such a great interview. Maybe this is not really going to work. Maybe there's 200 candidates and I don't stand much of a chance. All of those thoughts take your energy and divide it up into different vectors that shoot out, and then you can't vitalize, nor does the back of your heart chakra open up. And I'm going to show you an executive that is not a winner. Hello? Can we have my little sketch here? Blocked executive, and I'm blocked in having this happen. That's interesting. Well, I'm not able to show it to you. Why would I not be able to show you that? Okay. I'm not able to show you. It won't come up. I'm going to show you this other. Not either. Okay. They don't want that to happen. So I'm going to show you a series of sketches that I did via my remote viewing skills of the changes in the assemblage of bodies and strings of one person in the space of 7 minutes, as that person did this mantra that we're going to do next, which is, please God, help me with my intention to miraculously purify the hate and fear, which is what has to happen for there to be peace. So this is the first sketch of the person. Oh my goodness. I'm not able to show you the sketches. Estela, you remember the sketches, so you can see it, but other people don't. And I'm afraid to try anything. Okay, let me get out of there again. Let me try it now. Nope. Oh, how interesting. Okay. I think things are very interesting on the planet today, having to do with politics, because people like me, when things get iffy in politics, our social media gets iffy. This is very iffy. Okay, so I cannot show you the sketches, but I can tell you that within 7 minutes with this mantra you're going to be doing now, the changes in the mind strings, which are the configuration of the person's mind, were so dramatic I didn't believe it. And I did the sketches. I was present. So, and I can say that several people that have been following this ritual of every night at 7, doing 20 minutes of the mantra with the sensory therapy video, are telling me they feel very different. They feel much more solid, more self-assured. You could see the sketch when I put it up. In other words, I'm the one that can't see it. That's interesting. Okay, I'm going to let it go. So we need to talk for a minute about subconscious intentions. You have an intention. Intention creates reality. Why are you not achieving that intention? Because you, not the guy across the street, you have subconscious intentions that are overriding the conscious intention that you have. And I'm going to go back to the same example of you want more. You can see it on the screen and I cannot. Give me a second. I'm going to, actually, I'm not sure how to get here. Oh yes, I can get here by going to my Facebook page. Let me see if we can see it there. And then I could, oh yes, it is on the screen. So then I'm going to do the series. So this one that you're seeing now, okay, is the original sketch of the person. And you can see the mind streams the way they're supposed to be. And then you see big black ones that are droopy, depressed. That person is very depressed, okay? Then she did a mantra for depression, and you see this, which those black strings are now no longer so droopy, but they are lifting up just with the depression mantra. Then we went ahead and have her, no, I can see it, Estela, because I went to my Facebook, where this is streaming, and I can see that the sketches are there. I cannot see it here. I wonder why. Doesn't matter. Oh, there, now I can see it. In this sketch, remember, this is in 7 minutes. Look how beautiful. There's no depression there. There's lots of chi, which is the God particle. And the God particle is a unit, which is of the 4 elements of fire, air, water, and earth. She's doing the mantra for world peace. She is not using the sensory therapy video. She looks great. And then in this last sketch, she is doing the world peace mantra, the one you're going to do, plus the sensory video, which I will put on in a few minutes. And look how incredible. You see the green line that is outlining and protecting the canopy of mind streams. That spirit at the top right can no longer influence or bother the person. Her heart chakra is opening more. That's the green in the center. And she has small mind streams that are coming out of her throat. In other words, they're no longer grabbing her throat to where you can't even see them, but they're loosening up. And from the earth, there is the earth element coming up to fill her assemblage of bodies, her strings, which is wonderful because in the original Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, it doesn't say what we're taught, deliver us from evil. That is not the original Lord's Prayer in Aramaic. It says, help us to be in the present, which means grounded, landed, which means in shamanism, earth element. You have enough of the earth element. You're grounded, you're landed. Okay, this is in 7 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and do that now for 20 minutes. And at the end, we're going to come back. But before we start, you are going to do a self-assessment. And from 1 to 10, 1 if you're feeling god-awful, and 10 if you feel great, where are you at right now on that scale? And then at the end, you're going to go back and see how many points, how much better you feel, because you will feel better. And then we're going to show you now the famous gold dress. This dress was designed in gold and white, nice and shiny. And several years ago, when it came out on the market, somebody said, that's not gold and white, that's blue and bronze. And of course it's not, it's gold and white. But some people see it blue and bronze, and it has to do with your frequency. And the usual story again, when that week when that dress came out and everybody was talking about it, I saw it gold and white. Of course, I'm very spiritual. Of course I should see it that color. And one of the days, I saw it almost black, bronze, really dark, and then blue, not the gold and white. And I thought somebody had switched the picture, and they didn't. I realized that my frequency had dropped. And then it took me like a minute and a half to realize that I had had a temper tantrum. Something bothered me, and I had a temper tantrum, and I was holding on to that rage. My frequency dropped. What's the point? The point is that is gold and white. The designer made it gold and white, and I could see the gold and white. But if my frequency drops, I can't see the gold. Okay? The golden age is entering planet Earth. This was predicted 5,000 years ago, in the Bible 2,000 years ago. You're not going to get the gold. You're not going to see the gold. You're not going to see the opportunity if your frequency is low. So at the end of this, I'm going to put the dress on again, and you'll see whether your frequency was able to lift and it looks shinier or more gold rather than bronze, etc. So this is the mantra. Give me 1 second while I pull it up. These are interesting years that we live in. Okay. I have people constantly doing black magic on my third eye, which is the part of all of us that is able to see. So it's not surprising to me uh, that there's something I can't see. What's surprising is that you guys can see it and I can't, which maybe means that my frequency is not so great right now. I have been feeling weird. Darn, I just put something up and it's gone. There it is. Okay. There's the mantra in English. Please, God, help us with our intention to miraculously purify the hate and fear. And then I have it again in Spanish. Most people that follow me do speak Spanish. And most of what I do is put out in Spanish because it's a much more receptive audience. I would like for that to change. But the New Age movement in the United States, and not so much in other parts of the world, is very contrary to what it is that I teach. I don't teach anything about love. Love happens automatically when you purify the hate and the anger and the frustration and the fear. And the New Age movement puts an awful lot of emphasis on love and not enough time to purifying the stuff that literally stops you from genuinely loving. Love is an energy, and it's used as a concept. And the word to say you love somebody are words, and to actually have your heart chakra open and that energy flowing from you is a completely different thing. And if you go to any one of my YouTube sites, the English one or the one in Spanish, and I always have the same background. If you can see the wall that's right now on the left of me, it's beige. But if I'm in a really good place, I radiate pink and the wall gets pink. The first time that happened, I was like, what happened here? And it was my frequency was radiating out. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want for you. I don't want you to talk about love. We don't have to talk about love. You're going to be that when you get all the other garbage out of the way. And the good thing about mantras is that they purify stuff. As you are getting all your energy bodies and your mind streams pointed in one direction, the stuff that would stop you from pointing in that direction of your intention gets kind of pushed out of the way, gets kicked out. Literally, sometimes you can feel something dropping away. You can feel like a tension, and then all of a sudden, woof, and chances are you release the spirit. So there's the mantra. The mantras are repeated in silence. You release the breath through your mouth and get relaxed. 2 feet on the floor. If you want to, Apana Mudra, 2 center fingers with your thumb. This wakes up the lower 3 chakras. And you can feel it because your breath changes. We're going to put the same music as those 4 sketches. So incredible. Okay? And you can go ahead and start. Okay. I don't know if you can tell that there's more pink around me. The platform is not working properly. I'm not able to get the chat open. Um, I I feel much better. So where are you in terms of auto analysis from 1 to 10? My body is much more relaxed, especially my shoulder blades. Let's put the dress back up. There. You can't see it. See it. Feel it's shinier. And on the right side of the picture, which is the left hip, see that gold line there? It isn't until the end of a chat in which I'm doing mantras that that kind of pops out. In other words, I can see more gold. It was always there, but I couldn't really see it. And I can see it now. So hopefully that's the case with you. Let me give you a couple more examples. You can sign off now if you already feel good, but I feel a little bit bad that I'm using the same examples when I have so many examples of subconscious intentions. I had a person who had a death in the family, and she didn't work for 6 months. And when she went back to work, she couldn't find a job. She came to see me and she said, listen, I intend on getting a job. I need a job. Why can't I find a job? So I asked her to stand to the side and I could sketch the vector, her intention to have a job. But popping out behind her were these big balloons that were filled with rage that she had that loss, which was her boyfriend who had died, and resentment that she had to go back to work when she really didn't want to do anything. She just wanted to lay around all day long. So I said to her, you want to get a job, that's your intention, but honestly, you have a lot more energy in your anger at having to work and in your depression and just wanting to stay home and not having to do anything than you do vitalizing your intention to work. And she said, that's true. She said, but I have to work. I have to earn a living. I said, go ahead and then do the mantra. Because she wasn't doing mantras until then. She was simply sending out resumes, etc. She was doing everything you're supposed to do in the physical dimension, and it wasn't happening. I said, do the mantra. And what happens is when you do the mantra, those things that pop up, which are subconscious congestions that block the channeling of chi, they collapse, and she got a job within a week. But she was prepared. This was years ago when everything was much easier. And of course, the traditional blocked intention of a single female, she wants to get married. She wants a boyfriend. She wants to get married. So I had a friend of mine who was in that situation, and she said, why isn't he asking me to marry him? I said, well, intention creates reality. So if he's not asking you to marry him, that means that you do not want to get married to him. You don't want him to ask you. And she said, that's not true, Francis. You know. I said, I don't create these laws. I said, turn to the side. She turned to the side. She did the mantra, please God help me with my intention, that he asked me to marry him. And so, yes, she had that vector, but she had these huge congestions behind her, rage at her father, determination that no male was ever going to control her. And I said, that's a lot of energy in your subconscious. You have an intention that no man control you, and you think that if you get married, you're going to be controlled. Well, that's why probably most single females who say they want to get married are not really full intended, because they have some kind of experiences that is blocking them by creating a subconscious intention of not having to go through that, having to be under a man dominating them, or not being able to get over what their father did to them. And it's usually, the stuff that comes up is usually pretty logical, except for a couple of people that I've dealt with, two men in particular, that really wanted to have a girlfriend and wanted to have a maid. And when I checked, this was out of hundreds of people, both of them had past lives in which they were priests. And so there was a subconscious intention of continuing that very sacred lifestyle. In this lifetime, they continued it a little bit too much, even though they had a desire to have a companion. It was not strong enough to overcome their intention to be a good priest dragged in from another incarnation. So it's very, the subconscious intentions are very, very interested. By the way, the chat doesn't work, and that's why I couldn't put anything up there. And I'll contact the platform. But again, when things get messy politically, the social platforms start to not perform as well for people like me. But we continue. And I'm sorry if I repeated all the examples today. I think I was rather off base when we started. I feel a lot better. So I hope you do too, and we'll be back here again tomorrow. And do check how the rest of your day goes and tomorrow. And even though this appears to be very insignificant, not that important, I mean, after all, we did 19 and a half minutes one day and the next day and the next day, and you end up with a baseline centeredness that you would not have had if you didn't do this. Okay? So thank you for joining me, and we will see you back tomorrow. And I'll get some new examples, and I'll try to see if I can't get this platform to work correctly. Thank you.